Hey everybody, Nathan Ronen, CFA here, with an update for candidates who are in the CFA Level I program or those people who are contemplating getting into the CFA program and obviously starting out with Level I. This is for you. This is going to be a three-part series, Part 1, Part 2, Part 3. I would encourage you to listen to all three parts because I'm going to give you some very valuable information or guidance on what are the three largest mistakes Level I candidates make when they're studying for the Level I CFA exam and why those pass rates just don't ever seem to get up to 70 or 80% or more. Okay, if you're interested in this, please press the subscribe button and the notifications bell so that you can continue to receive these updates on a weekly or bi-weekly basis as I create them and post them. Okay, let's take a big deep breath here because we're going to go through a lot of stuff in this three-part series. I'm going to try to keep it succinct, each of them. Basically, I've been an instructor for CFA Level I, 2, and 3 since 1997. Okay, so I'm almost going on 28, 29 years of teaching all levels of the CFA program. And I got to tell you, I mean, some people will say, well, have you seen it all? I generally say, yeah, I think I've seen it all, but there can always be surprises. But there are a lot of mistakes that I see candidates making that causes them a lot of frustration with Level I, and it does not enable them to proceed to Level 2 or 3 and get the charter. And then many of them just drop out. If you don't believe me, all you need to look is at the statistics. Okay, and CFA Institute has published this, that only 20% of the people that enter the CFA journey actually make it through Level 3 and pass it and get the charter. 80% don't. Well, is there one reason why all of them don't do it? Absolutely not. But let's talk about Level 1. Let's focus on Level 1, and let me talk about the three biggest mistakes that I see candidates making when they're preparing for the Level 1 exam. And hopefully you won't make them, and you'll decide that a good decision to make is to work with me to help you get through all three levels and not worry about, retakes. Okay, so in this video, I am actually going to talk about mistake number 1, and you're going to find that, Level 1 is not a PowerPoint presentation, and it should never be. So if you're working with a prep provider or you're contemplating using a prep provider that's going to put just a whole bunch of slides up on the screen and walk you through the slides, and that's how you're going to pass the exam, that's not what you want to do, and that's not the right prep provider to have. Okay? Some people can get through doing that, but it falls apart at Level 2 and Level 3, and you don't create that base that you need for Level 2 and Level 3. So let's dive deep now into what actually matters, and we'll talk about the first error, okay? The first error. And again, remember, I've trained tens of thousands of candidates who have gone through the CFA program and have helped them to get their charter. Been doing this for almost 30 years. It works, okay? So error number 1, very briefly, is memorizing the CFA program, Level 1, versus trying to master the concepts and understand it, okay? Now, to give you a little bit of backdrop, I have a lot of times candidates who are contacting me via WhatsApp or email, or they contact me on social media, and they want to ask me, why have they failed the Level 1 exam 1 time, 2 times, 3 times? Some people are taking even 4 times. And one of the first things I ask them is, how did you prepare for the exam? And they said, well, I bought some study notes from a prep provider, and I just read those study notes over 3 or 4 times. And then I did some mock exams and the chapter questions, the end, okay? And I say, well, you don't understand why you're failing? First of all, when you're reading prep notes, you're reading a summary. You're reading a summary of the CFA curriculum readings. guess what the CFA Institute is doing? They're creating an exam that's based on the learning ecosystem, or in other words, the CFA curriculum. They're not looking at some prep providers' prep notes or study notes and forming their questions from that to see if you understood the prep notes. They want to make sure that you understood the curriculum. When you're working with me, that's exactly what I do. I teach you the content, I teach you the concepts, I basically focus on the CFA curriculum, and I teach you to master the core concepts, not memorize a whole bunch of bullet points or PowerPoint slides and hope that you'll just go in there in the exam and, pound it out. Okay? So I focus on mastering the core concepts and not memorizing them. The other thing that I generally recommend or that I work on is focusing on understanding the relationship between the topics. There are a lot of concepts in the corporate issuers that are associated with financial statement analysis. You need to see how they tie together. There's stuff in the derivatives that will go with economics. I will show you how that's the case. There's things that are in equity and portfolio management. I'll show you how they come together. If you are just reading prep notes, study notes, or even the CFA curriculum for that matter, and just trying to memorize the content, and you're not focusing on understanding the relationship between the topics, you're going to have a rude awakening on exam day when you go in there and those 180 questions are not focused on calculations, they're not focused on formulas, they're not focused on definitions, and they're not linear questions right out of the book. They are going to test your understanding of the entire curriculum at level 1. They're going to tie the concepts together, the learning outcome statements together, the modules together in such a way that you need to rely on more than one of them to answer many of the questions on the level 1 exam. That's what my lectures, that's what my videos do, because I know this program like the back of my hand. Then the other thing that causes people to fail is failure to apply the concept to real exam questions. Everybody wants to do end of chapter questions, gray box questions in the readings, Q-Bank questions. I sometimes have seen from people send me that people have done all 10,000 questions in the Q-Bank. Well, r/CFA, the subreddit, belongs to a prep provider. That's not from the CFA Institute. You want to listen to that kind of advice from others to do 10,000 questions? Most people don't have that luxury of time to do 10,000 questions, nor do you need to. And those questions are not going to show up on the exam because they're very linear or unidimensional many times. So what you need to do is you need to see questions that actually integrate concepts, integrate the readings, integrate the modules, and actually have you focused on applying the concepts and doing analysis rather than just regurgitating the book. And again, those questions at the end of the chapter, the blue box, the Q-Banks, they're all unidimensional questions that are supposed to be used as study tools for making sure you understood what you read and not to be used as a replica of the questions on the exam. And then finally, again, what I'm trying to do here and what you should be doing is using an integrated learning approach to real exam questions. And that's what the methodology, the Ronen methodology, is all about. Okay, so that is, in essence, the error, the first largest error that the candidates at level 1 do is trying to memorize over mastering. And my focus is to make sure you master the material, understand it, be able to apply it to questions, and have enough knowledge and background so that you can make the extension to level 2 and level 3, because level 2 and 3 build on level 1. So that concludes what I wanted to say in this first part of a 3-part series on the 3 biggest mistakes that candidates make at level 1. Happy to help you out. You might want to check out my website, chalkandboard.org. That's CHALK and AND, board, BOARD, chalkandboard.org. There are samples of my teaching style. You can look at the approach I use even on my YouTube channel. And if you have questions, you can reach out to me. My email is there. My phone number is there. Happy to help you to pass your level 1 exam. And do listen to part 2 and part 3. Thank you.